They killed the only general they ever had. These were the words spoken by General Hughes during the Philippine-American War, a dark chapter in the American occupation of the Philippines. On June 5, 1899, this man, General Antonio Luna, was assassinated in Cabanatuan. Today, General Antonio Luna is remembered a hero. But why was he seen as such a threat to the Americans? Who exactly was he? And why was he assassinated by the very people that he fought for? I'm Jonas, and let's talk about General Antonio Luna, one of the greatest generals the Philippines ever had. Antonio Luna was born on October 29, 1866, in Binondo, Manila. His father, Joaquin Luna, worked as a government tobacco salesman. Luna showed early academic promise, excelling in various subjects and memorizing the Doctrina Cristiana, one of the first books produced in the Philippines, at a young age. He later earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from the Ateneo Municipal de Manila and studied literature and chemistry at the University of Santo Tomas. Luna later went to Europe to study pharmacy in Barcelona and earned a doctorate in pharmacy in 1890. His research on malaria was impressive. It distinguished between the different types of the parasite and suggested new treatments. So Luna has a lot of achievements and scientific accomplishments. Why is he now remembered more as a general? In August 1896, during the Philippine Revolution, Antonio Luna and his brother, the famous painter Juan Luna, we'll talk about that in another video, were arrested by the Spaniards. Even though they didn't actually join the Katipunan, Luna was doubtful about the revolution, believing that it needed proper preparation. He preferred reforms over rebellion, similar to Jose Rizal and other educated Filipino reformists. He was then exiled to Spain in 1897, imprisoned in Madrid's Carcel Modelo. His brother, Juan, being a well-respected painter, just got pardoned by the Spanish Queen Regent Maria Cristina of Austria and used his influence to secure Antonio's release. So we can imagine that while the revolution raged in the Philippines, Antonio Luna wasn't actually there. Upon his release, Luna stayed in Hong Kong, where he received a letter of recommendation to Emilio Aguinaldo, who was already the Katipunan leader at that time. Finally, he returned to the Philippines in July 1898, a month after the country declared independence from Spain on June 12, 1898. Aguinaldo then quickly appointed him Chief of War Operations. However, when Luna returned, the Americans were already on Philippine soil. Admiral George Dewey had already defeated the Spanish fleet in the Battle of Manila Bay in May 1, 1898, and on December 10, 1898, Spain then sold the Philippines to the Americans. Now, the Philippines is essentially handed over from one global superpower to another. Luna, already a high-ranking general, was deeply involved and saw the tensions rise between the Filipinos and Americans. And on February 4, 1899, a group of American soldiers fired their first shot against Filipino soldiers, and that essentially triggering the start of the Philippine-American War. The Filipinos, already tired and weary from fighting a literally centuries-old empire, now had to defend themselves from another just months after. With not much time to prepare and reorganize, the Filipinos had to fight once again. Now, Luna was a strict leader with no tolerance for incompetence. He was known for being hot-headed and having a very bad temper, which often made him the target of gossip and earned him enemies within Aguinaldo's government. Luna's strong personality and refusal to compromise made people either love him or hate him. Despite these internal conflicts, he worked tirelessly to make the Filipino military more professional. His efforts, however, faced resistance and hostility from politicians, other generals, or even some soldiers. But during the Philippine-American War, General Luna participated in many major battles, including the first and the biggest Battle of Manila, the two battles of Caloocan, and the Battle of Santo Tomas, which was unfortunately Luna's last battle. However, despite Luna's military efforts and significantly causing delays and dealing significant damage to the American forces, you see, he didn't actually win any battles. As Teodoro Agancillo, a leading Filipino historian, said, Luna was a great general who didn't win any battles. The reason why Antonio Luna did not win any battles may be related to his famous strategy that he proposed called the three-tier strategy, also called the Luna Defense Line, which aimed to slow down and weaken the American forces while they build fortresses up in the mountains. Luna envisioned using the rugged terrain and the high ground as a military advantage. The first tier consists of trenches and fortifications on the front line. If the first line was destroyed, the soldiers would then retreat and regroup to the second line of defenses. Now, the first and second tier are only meant to delay the Americans, while they built the third tier, which are a series of mega fortresses. Once the second line fell, They would then retreat to the fortresses already built high up in the mountains, the ultimate defensive barrier, where they would also switch to guerrilla warfare. The idea was not to actually win battles, but rather delay the Americans while they built a strong, massive fortress in the third tier, where the soldiers would be more prepared and at a natural terrain advantage or high ground. Just imagine being an American soldier trying to hike a mountain while someone at the top can easily shoot you down. Unfortunately, Luna's three-tier defense was not fully implemented because the government did not fully support his plans. Even other generals did not agree with his plans and refused to cooperate by not sending reinforcements. The speed of the American military also outpaced the ability of the Filipinos to construct the necessary defenses and train themselves, and the mega fortress in the mountain province was never fully carried out. Now, the turning point of Luna's career came when he was invited to a council of war by Emilio Aguinaldo, essentially a very important meeting on June 5, 1899. He was excited to receive an invitation from Emilio Aguinaldo to meet him in Cabanatuan personally because he saw it as an opportunity to discuss and clarify military matters and strategies directly with the president. Luna, however, unaware of the betrayal that awaited him, arrived in Cabanatuan with two aides-de-camp, Colonel Francisco Roman and Captain Eduardo Rusca, and a mounted escort. However, he dismissed his escort and proceeded to go alone to the rectory where Aguinaldo had his headquarters. This was a very bad idea. As Luna entered the rectory, he was informed by an officer that Aguinaldo had already left with his command. Feeling insulted and obviously disappointed, Luna prepared to leave. However, he was suddenly attacked from behind by Captain Pedro Hanolino, who inflicted a severe wound with a bolo. Despite his injuries, Luna fought back, drawing his revolver to defend himself. But still, Luna managed to force his way through his assailant. However, upon reaching the plaza, he was then confronted by multiple soldiers who then started attacking him with their heavy bolos. Luna was being hacked alive, but they feared that Luna would only cause more trouble if he's captured alive, but unbelievably refused to die. He kept fighting back, wounding several of his attackers with his revolver, despite being caught by surprise, fighting multiple armed men, enduring numerous hacks from the heavy bolos, and suffering multiple shots from a rifle at close range. Luna fought until his body eventually had no strength left. His body was buried, and the location of his body today is still unconfirmed. Luna's death not only took away one of the army's most brilliant strategists, but also revealed deep divisions and power struggles within the leadership. His assassination shocked the Filipino army and some civilians, and the confusion even reached the Americans. The Filipinos' military effectiveness rapidly declined. The American forces, previously held in check by Luna's defenses, started advancing more aggressively. Many soldiers loyal to Luna were disheartened and surrendered. Now, the circumstances surrounding Luna's assassination quickly became a scandal, raising questions about President Aguinaldo's involvement. Many believed Aguinaldo had planned to eliminate Luna, seeing that he might replace him as the president. Because you see, Aguinaldo was also previously believed to be involved in the execution of the previous Katipunan leader Andres Bonifacio, another national hero. Despite the investigation into Luna's assassination at that time, no one was actually convicted. The loss of the general was not just a personal tragedy, it was a strategic disaster. Following Luna's death, Aguinaldo faced successive defeats. He had whatever forces he had left and evaded the American forces in hiding in remote areas in northern Luzon. The Filipinos actually continued to resist, but their efforts were increasingly disorganized and ineffective. The Americans eventually captured Emilio Aguinaldo on March 23, 1901, essentially ending the Philippine-American War and solidifying American control over the Philippines. General Jose Alejandrino, one of Luna's aides, believed that if Luna's plans for the fortress in the mountain province have been carried out earlier, Aguinaldo might have avoided fleeing to the mountains. General Frederick Funston praised Luna as the ablest and most aggressive leader of the Filipino Republic, while General James Franklin Bell remarked that Luna was the only general the Filipino army had, and General Robert Hughes stated that with the death of General Luna, the Filipino army lost the only general it had. In the many years after the Philippine-American War, Aguinaldo has denied multiple times that he was involved in the assassination of Antonio Luna, but in 2018, an original copy of the telegram sent to Luna inviting him to Cabanatuan, where he was assassinated, was brought to light. However, every hero is not without their own controversies. Antonio Luna is remembered as a hero, and many wonder how the Philippines would have turned out if he wasn't betrayed and whether if he truly was one of the greatest generals the Philippines ever had.